He's talking about statements made by Julius. And cue the statements here.
The mayor of DA in PE is a white man. So these people, when you want to hit them hard, go after a white man. They feel a terrible pain because you have touched a white man. Not because Mashaba and Soli will not be touched. They will be touched, don't worry. But we are starting with this whiteness. We are cutting the throat of whiteness.
So, those statements there, he's talking about whiteness. He's talking about racism and white supremacy. And he's talking about, I think it was a mayor at the time, Athol Trollip. He was talking about voting out the mayor in a no confidence motion. And he said that Athol Trollip has the arrogance of a white man who clearly knows that he's white and has a superior personality and attitude. And so Julius Malema said that they were going to be cutting the throat of whiteness, which he said to be his supremacist attitude. And Athol Trollip did fall. South Africans who followed this story and the journalists and the local media that followed this story properly interpreted and understood what was meant by that. And if AfriForum and the Willem Petzers were to go and play those statements in full, it would just show what those statements actually were. But my point to that is when Julius made those statements, I remember being such a radical member of the Economic Freedom Fighters. That statement there, we're cutting the throat of whiteness. Ikanga, fedile kayona. That's what he was saying. The fedile kayona means that is the end of that. You see, I had that as a ringtone. I downloaded the video, took out the MP3, and I had it as a ringtone. So I'd be in the bank and my phone would suddenly, Julius Malema, we're cutting the throat of whiteness. Ikanga, fedile kayo. And people would be startled. That's something that I would not do today. You understand? Though I understood the context back then that he was just talking about white supremacy and a man in power, and that power needed to be removed. The overall connotation, the overall definition of cutting a throat of whiteness in the context of this violent country that we live in the context of people whose throats actually get cut, I would not have that ringtone today, and I would condemn those statements to be made further. However, to explain what it was, let's just stick to the original context of what it actually was. But I would say those statements are not to be made going further forward. They're problematic and they stir up, fear mongers on the other side like Willem Petzer, people who are invested in the Swart Gevaar. If you're South African, you might know what the Swart